Hello and welcome to SAP Growth Podcast powered by ZaranTech. Let's meet our guest today and the pioneer of SAP industry and a wonderful human being, Mr. Paul Byrne, a seasoned SAP Programme Director at Dragon ERP, boasting over 25 years of expertise in steering complex S/4HANA programs across diverse sectors. Passionate about driving business transformation, Paul specializes in implementing effective change management and value asset risk mitigation and governance. His skills set span to stakeholder relationships, management, business processes optimization, transformative IT leadership, competence and training oversight, and organizational change facilitation. With a proven track record, Paul has successfully guided prominent clients, including a large hotel group, an airline, and a division of Unilever through business transition projects. His commitment to excellence is reflected in his array of credentials, including SAP Global Business Transformation Management, MSP, Prince 2, and PTM certifications. Join us as we explore Paul's wealth of experience and insights into the SAP growth on this SAP Growth Podcast. And today's topic is Driving Business Transformation through SAP by Paul Byrne. Let's meet him.
Everybody. I'm looking over my shoulder for some famous person to walk in. I'm like, the introduction was fantastic. I don't know who this person is.
No, it's you. Absolutely
I
you.
do like to joke a little bit,
No
but
problem.
while the introduction was fantastic, I think it just becomes part of the dice, if you like, that life throws at you.
Yes.
And how you play the dice, right?
Right.
You can be from any part of the world or any circumstances. Whatever those dice are thrown at you, they're your dice. You play them, and you be the best. In my opinion, be the best that you can be
Right.
in
Absolutely.
every
Absolutely.
circumstance, and it won't always be good. It's not always pretty.
Right.
So you've got to just try to make the best of every situation that you can.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. You're 100% correct about that. So, Paul, like as I introduced you in a brief about of all entirety of your 25 years, this is like I would say still a little small introduction. It's a small introduction about you. I think there would have been much bigger introduction if I had the chance to speak about. So, before we jump into the main questions and everything, can you share that how you feel, how you think about the profession you're at, and what are the best takeaways, not in the generic example I'm asking, but the best takeaways about this profession as an SAP program director, and how does it feel like? What do you think about that everyday basis like?
So I'm going to say I come from a small family business.
Okay.
And in the family business, my father told me, he said, you must understand every job. Because if you don't understand, and it was a hotel business, and we had a bar, and we had a music place as well. So he
Right.
said, as soon as you don't understand every job, that's when you'll be let down by staff not showing up, somebody sick, something happened.
Right.
So when it comes to cleaning the bathrooms, if you have to do that, then you have to do that, because your guest experience or your customer experience is the priority.
Right.
So when you grow up and then take a different role and you become, say, project manager, you're a technical lead, you're a program manager, program whatever, you have to be able to rise into the position, grow into that position,
Mhm.
where when you're put in charge, take charge.
Right.
When you're in charge, do the right thing. Now, it doesn't mean that, let's assume for a moment, Ritna, that you and I are on a project together. It doesn't mean I'm going to be 100% nice to you all the time. And sorry, I will be polite. And it means that we can have grown up conversations about things. I might disagree with you.
Right.
I like that you disagree with me, because if I'm disagreeing with you, I'm challenging you, and I'm making you think again, going, is that the right approach? And you might not like it in the moment. It's never nasty. It's questioning, going, well, why would we do it that way? Uh,
Right.
then you come back and go, well, I think and I believe and I discussed it with the team, and we think this is the best way forward. So it's challenging. It's not like, yes, we must do some configuration to get this done, but
Right.
why? Yeah.
Right.
So this, as I said, that, and I've a particularly very good case when on a turnaround uh, program. The whole team did not like me at the beginning because they saw me as the new guy. Oh, what's this guy gonna do? But
Okay.
we spotted some, I would call them low hanging fruit. The the design documentation wasn't in a good situation. It wasn't. Uh, Without going to detail, the solution architect had just taken Paul's and Ritna's and John and everybody else's piece, and he just plugged them straight into the document. So the language didn't flow, the grammar wasn't great, the font size and the fonts were different. So
Okay.
the customer immediately picked on that and
Okay.
didn't read it, and they didn't understand it. So when we got together and we banged some heads together, our own heads, and said, "Here's the problem, guys. Just because somebody was a little bit lazy, uh, like everybody on the team had done their work. Somebody was a little bit lazy. I just went copy and paste.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
and
yeah.
it faced a huge aggression from the client,
Right. Right.
and then
Yeah.
the team got a big aggression from the senior management, because
Right.
all the senior management could see was the customer getting angry.
Right.
So
Right.
if you can go in and you address the low hanging fruit, the small things like that. Yes, it meant some late nights correcting, and I don't understand what you mean by this. Let's say FP&A and finance, because I'm not an FP&A guy, right?
Right.
Uh, what is that terminology? Uh, and you get them to explain it to you, and you go and you put it down in better language. So forget the technology. In my mind, it's all about the people, right?
Right.
And once I'm giving everybody who works with me, and I don't say for me, work with me,
Okay.
they're in my care, right?
Wow.
I have to look after them, but I give them what I call it top cover, right?
Right.
Uh, to stop the smelly stuff coming down, right? Uh,
Okay.
and if you have that cover,
Yeah.
you can be the best that you can be.
Right. Right.
Yeah. I give you,
And
you've done your training in whichever technical discipline you've done,
mhm.
and I give you the room to be able to
Do it.
operate on that. And
Right.
some people are shy, and some people are really good in a dark room programming or whatever,
Right.
and they're very good functional or technical expertise, but they might be very bad in front to talk to a customer.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen that a lot. Yeah.
I remember one guy, he was quite young at the time, and he really didn't want to go and speak to the customer. I went
Right.
with him, and the customer started asking me questions. I went, "Don't ask me." I'm I'm just looking as Abhishek is the guy, right? Uh,
Okay.
and Abhishek got I built his confidence. He
Yeah.
didn't see they weren't the customer weren't the demon. After
Mm-hmm.
a while, he was exactly their pair. He was
Yeah.
explaining to them how things were done, and because he had the confidence now,
Mm-hmm.
he could explain it perfectly.
Right. That's awesome. Like, yeah, that's great. I've seen that a lot within the software people. Most of the software people I have seen in my lifetime, they were like, so most of them are pretty shy to face the customers. So there is a separate team for them to help them out to, interact with the customers and everything. So yeah, you're absolutely right. That gives a
You
lot
know,
of confidence.
I've also got a different sort of opinion as well, going. If you fall off your bicycle, you cut your knee, you bleed. Yeah,
Right, right.
it's the same pain I've got. It's the same color blood I've got.
Yeah,
You're gonna have maybe your ego's a little bit bruised, the same as me. So
yeah,
it doesn't matter.
yeah.
Customer, technical, business person, whatever. And
Right,
we're humans. We experience the same emotions.
right.
Now,
Absolutely.
some people play power plays. I don't allow that, and especially on the customer side, going.
Oh,
You go. There's far too many people go. Yes, Mr. Customer. Yes, Mr. Customer. No, no. We're the professionals. We've come in here to do this, right? We'll never know your business as well as you know it.
right,
So you've got to meet in the middle,
right,
right? And it's
right.
about
Absolutely.
having grown-up conversations. If we go away, yeah, we deliver the technical stuff, but if it's not taken on by the business and they go, ah, those technical guys, they're all gone. Ah, let's do it. Let's continue to do it our way. We failed.
Right.
We put the technical in, but they don't change their ways. We failed.
So, Paul, again, I want to learn a lot of things and I'm just waiting now. So, let's start with the questions I have up for you. Yeah.
Sure.
So, can you share a brief overview of your extensive experience in delivering SAP S/4HANA programs and driving business transformation?
Well, I stopped counting after 25 years. I'm, I'm going. I'm going to say I ran out of fingers and thumbs, but that's not to say I've got 25 fingers and thumbs. Uh, so I just stopped counting. I feel like I actually fell into ERP almost by mistake. It was a small company. We were doing an ERP system,
Mhm.
and it happened to be on Oracle at the time. And we got the typical functional guys who came in, and they were talking at us, not to us. Um, and they were sitting in the boardroom, and we had no clue what they were talking about. So I started to be, on purpose, the idiot in the room,
Okay.
right? And I'm
Mhm.
asking, I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're talking about. I don't understand this. And all the directors around the room were like, well, I don't understand it either. Um, and I was sitting there going, yes, yes, yes. So they were like like the nodding dog in the back of the car, just sitting there. So they that built the trust. Now I
Okay.
didn't put the developers or the functional guys down. I said,
Mhm.
I simply don't understand. I said, maybe it's me, maybe I'm stupid, right?
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
how to can you explain it to me in normal business language that everyone in the room will understand? Now this then began that all the other directors started asking questions. Well, how's that going to affect my warehouses? How's that going to affect my transport? How's that going to affect my quality management? How's it going to affect my transport? The finance guys. Everybody now is starting to ask smarter questions because they're the first person in the room to ask the questions was me asking the stupid questions because it gets
Yeah.
everybody a bit more brave.
Yes.
So that's where I came from, and then
Mm-hmm.
I went on to other organizations, and often I'd see something in another organization. I'd call up a guy previously. I went, "You need to come and see this." You know, uh, come. We'll have lunch. I'll give you a walk around. I still see the problem that we had that we didn't solve before, and it
Mm-hmm.
was. I'll tell you in this instance, it was a physical storage problem, um,
Okay.
and it was a new warehouse system, uh, and it was brilliant. So I invited them for coffee, walked around. They made some big changes in their business. Um, so I'm not, when I'm finished in the program, I'm not finished because I'm always thinking, wow, if we did that, yeah. So that's me.
Okay. Brilliant. That's wonderful to know. Now, could you share a scenario where SAP played a pivotal role in transforming a company's business strategy, structure, culture, and processes? Like any example you have?
I can. One, there were a large paper manufacturer,
Okay.
and it was full of engineers, um,
Okay.
and brilliant people.
All right.
Their only concern was keeping the machine running, keeping the paper coming one side, going out the other side. Um, we, uh, the global company had decided they were going to put in SAP, and there was pushback about it
Okay.
all the way. And we had some tough managers on the client side, uh, and there was some. They would say there were some Northern Europeans, and they were a little bit tougher than, uh, maybe British or Irish. It's just, again, it's a cultural difference, right? And this one guy was annoying everybody on his side as well as our side. And he was like,
Oh,
get it done, move, 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 get it done. And I
oh
often
wow.
had to take him outside of the room and
Mhm.
going, we're talking about enterprise structure here.
Right.
And we're talking about with your financial controller, for example.
Mhm.
Uh, we need to get this bit right, because if we don't get that right, everything else underneath it will fall uh, to pieces. Pointless
Absolutely.
of doing anything we're doing, right? And
Oh,
he had the penny drop moment, because
oh,
I could always pull him aside. And then, so in another instance, we were going to cut over, and he said, okay, you can come in the cutover meeting. I said, I can. Wow, that's nice of you. If I'm not in the cutover meeting, this is not going to happen. And I need all of my team in the cutover room, the war room.
oh
And
my
he said, well,
God.
why do you need
Such a
everybody?
spot.
He said, well, why do you need everybody? Uh, I said, because I know this much about finance, and this much about transportation, and this much about warehouse, and this much about sales and procurement and whatever. And I know nothing about the technical back end. So, and I know nothing about security and authorizations. But so by having all the team there, I will go and say, Ritna, this question sounds like it's for you. And I I empowered you to say, no, actually, it's not. That's with Paul. That's with John. That's with Abhishek. Because I don't know. And all
Right.
I'm doing is I facilitate it. And what I did there, I built the trust. The
Absolutely.
business guys were coming to me because they were classically overloaded. They had to do their day job and do this
Okay.
funny thing called SAP. It was getting in their way, right?
Oh my God.
So by experimenting and helping people and
Yeah.
talking to people, uh,
Yeah.
by having lunch with different people every day I would just walk with my tray, and I'd say, hey guys, can I sit with you? And they're like, oh, okay. And we'd talk, and then I would feel the temperature in the room, and then I would try my best to address their concerns. So that was all the softer side of change management,
Right.
not the hard deliverables.
Wonderful. So, Paul, in your experience, how crucial it is for businesses to align with strategy, structure, culture, processes during an SAP-driven transformation? And can you please provide some challenges and successes you have achieved in this alignment or during this alignment process? Any challenges you have faced or any successes you have seen? So, both pros and cons you have to can share with us a little bit.
So we've done this, unfortunately, to a lot of pain, um,
Okay.
because, and every organization does it. Everyone puts their foot on the pedal, go 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 go, right?
Right.
Um,
Right.
we have 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 months to deliver this template, right? But what they haven't done is what we've labeled it phase zero.
Okay.
You're not in your classic activate, prepare, realize, deploy, activate model, but a pre implementation phase that helps to get the organization ready. I need your best people. Uh, I need you all to understand a little bit about SAP. You'll learn as you go, but I
Mm-hmm.
want you to understand the challenge that we're getting ourselves into.
Right.
And I hear it, unfortunately, all the time. I hear, uh, I can't remember the word for it, but they've got too many managers. So you've got a manager who's driving the program, but they've also got their line manager who wants them to do their day job.
Right.
Uh, I had one particular guy. He was already doing 12 hours a day, and the client side program manager said, "Oh yeah, he'll do the data, he'll do the security authorizations, and he'll do the warehouse.
Oh my God.
Oh, and by the way, he'll also do the BI." So he's
My God.
already doing 12 hours a day. And I said, "Well, it's not possible." "Yeah, but he's good. It doesn't matter how good he is. He's not five people." Uh,
Right. Exactly.
so it's because they didn't understand the task at hand, how big it was going to be. And
No.
so what you do in our phase zero, we look at the last program that you delivered and go, how well did it go? And it's a lessons learned, but it's also a cultural thing going, is the culture of the organization ready for the change? Uh, are they ready for the volume of work that's needed? Are they ready to be away from the business for a significant period of time? Um,
Right.
so you go, their last program was 100 million. It went 4 years over, and it didn't deliver what was originally required. So we say, use that as an example.
Mm-hmm.
Now you want me to deliver this in 10 months, right? Okay. So the old analogy, the leopard doesn't change its spots.
Right.
So we go we pre-prepare people with the
Mm-hmm.
backfilling. They
Okay.
I've done crazy stuff about, like, I I've gotten mountain climbers up on top of a warehouse. I've put an abseil onto some of the team.
Oh my
Some
God.
of these team have been sitting down all their lives, right? uh, they've never climbed up on a roof of anything. But
Okay.
and I do a risk analysis on it, and it might only be one floor. I've got three people who are mountain climbers. They've checked the harness, right? And written
Wow.
that I'm the person who drops you off the roof, right?
Right.
You're looking in my eyes, right? That
Right.
builds the trust, right?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
then at any point in time in the program, you can come to me and go, Paul, I've seen this and I'm not sure. Okay, let me look at it. So I can fix it if I know about it. If I don't
Absolutely.
know about it, then it comes to 10 minutes to midnight before we go live. And then that small thing 3 months ago is huge, right? And
100%.
I'm not telling tales out of school. I'm not telling your manager. I'm not telling anybody. They say I've broad shoulders, right? I carry it, right? And I don't mind if I look like an idiot. Go better I look like an idiot than a failed program. Preparing the organization and only thinking about success,
Right.
right?
Like as a group, as a team.
Oh,
Absolutely.
leave your badge at the door. Leave your hat on the door. Leave your company jacket at the door. We all on the same team.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that, Paul. I will take it as an advice, and I will have the chance to have my own team someday. So, what advice would you have for organization considering SAP implementation for the first time, especially in terms of formulating a comprehensive business transformation strategy?
So it's be prepared to change. Um, just because you've always done things a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
don't always is it the right way. I often use an example that if you and me started a business in separately, you said you're in the same industry.
Yeah.
After a few years, uh, you're more successful than me. You buy me out, um, and then you go, "Oh, I didn't like Paul's processes. I will change them all to mine." But if you're smart, you actually step back and go, "You know what? Are my processes the best in the world? Just because they work for me, now that I own a double-sized company,
Yeah.
I should actually go back and look at processes. What's the best way of doing it? The practices that I came up with were the best in my head at the time. Now I've
Right.
got 3, 5, 10 years experience. Are they the best? Because the company is now grown as well. So this, and then where I'm alluding to here is SAP best practice. Or
Right.
so going back to that,
Yeah.
are SAP best practices always the best for the organization? No.
Right. Yeah.
So, but if you can come up with the 80-20 rule, then you're looking at much less customization, but get your processes right. Get your processes documented. It's no good having Paul in the corner who always knows how to do that thing. But what happens
Mhm.
if Paul is on leave? Uh,
Okay.
Nobody knows how to do it because he keeps the little secrets in his head. Going, that's my little silo of power, right? My
Right.
little black book of secrets, right? I, I can't be fired because I'm the only one who knows how to do that, right? Uh, so it's more about uh, getting all of those processes agreed and documented beforehand.
Right.
Um, and you really have to start with your vision, your strategy, your target operating model, and then you can go and choose your
Right.
ERP system. Now, when I
Right.
say ERP system, I still mean SAP, but it could be, is it going to be on premise? Is it going to be on cloud? Is it going to be private, public cloud? Is it CDC? Is it sovereign? Which is the
Right.
version that we want to go for?
Wonderful. So, Paul, another thing I'd like to ask you is, I can see that the traits of a leader you have, like you work collectively, you like to be around smarter people to make the things happen in the faster pace. So where is that foundation coming from? Like, is it your family business with that taught you this kind of principles and strategies, or is it something you've learned over the years?
I would say yes. And an example around that, in my father's business, I went away to do some training course. And
Okay.
when I came back, everyone, oh, here he is. He's got all the keys to the doors. He knows everything. Oh, I'm bored, right? God. So they were like, taking advantage of me. Going, oh yeah, here he comes. He's got all the book knowledge. Now, that happens, right?
Yeah.
They know you in the organization, and they know what you were like before.
Yeah.
People find it hard to appreciate your new skills when you acquire new skills. So, and people are threatened by knowledge,
Very much.
right?
Very much so. Yeah.
So it's about, and the most important advice I can give is never use the term "I told you so" or "Let's do it my way." If sometimes it can be a little bit like um, teaching a kid to ride a bike, right? The first time you rode the bike, then sometimes your daddy or your brother or whatever is he'll hold you for a certain while, but a while after a period of time he takes the training wheels off, right?
Right.
And then it gives you a
Right.
good push and you go down the road. And you think you're on your own. You're not really because he's running behind you. Yeah. And you might
Yeah.
crash, but you'll
Yeah.
crash on the grass. And yeah, maybe you'll cry, but maybe you'll have broken knees, but you survive, right? This is what happens in business all the time. Sometimes you've got to let them crash. But
Okay.
it's like, but when I say crash, it's not a train wreck. It's like it's fail small, fail early, recover fast, and get going, right?
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
the biggest problem, you'll smile. The male ego is horrific, right? Uh,
No
if
comments on
if we can leave the male ego at home
that.
and respect every one of our colleagues, sex, race, creed, don't care. We're all smart people in the room, different levels, and I always pick on them on the most junior person to make sure that he or she has got in a daily stand up. Ask them for their opinion because those fresh eyes can see something. And
Yeah.
I never allow bullying or anybody to be ridiculed. You come up with something. Okay, well, let's look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, they're like on the side you're standing and criticizing the other people, but you don't know the solution. But you have the mouth to criticize people. There are a lot of people out there like that also. So those are the some dangerous some people.
okay,
So yeah.
good. We were given. I'm probably not a very good example of it. We got God gave us two ears and one mouth, so we should
Yeah.
listen more, right?
Yeah.
I talk a lot because I have to drive things forward, and it's the energy that that helps me to drive it forward.
So, Paul, how do you approach competence and training management to ensure that teams are well equipped to leverage SAP solution effectively during a business transformation?
The first thing is attitude. You spot the little stars. Uh, Somebody who's hungry to learn. If and they can be junior, and I hate people who put junior in their title. You're not junior, you're just younger, right?
Okay.
Because once you put junior in your title, please nobody put junior in your title, because then you cannot shake it off, right? Uh, junior, hi junior. It's like no, you're just younger and less experienced, right? But it doesn't mean you're not as hungry as everybody else to learn and to grow. So I can't give everybody all the training that they want and need. The budgets never go that far. So uh, I will do as much training as possible. Give you an example. Uh, One big program we went on to, nobody had any S/4HANA experience. Nobody had any SAP model company experience. Um, but the organization had sold them all in as, and they were all perfect functional consultants and technical consultants, but they didn't know the tools, and
Okay.
nobody had any Activate experience. So this is going to be a disaster.
Yeah.
Uh, so my boss wanted everybody on site all the time. I'm going,
Okay.
yes, and we're going to learn as we go, and we're all going to look like fools. Uh, so I said, well, let's get everybody, even 2, 3 people, at a time. We'll get them up to head office. And even if we do offsite training, explain stuff to people, right?
Right.
The learning curve is still like that,
Right.
huge, but
Right.
at least they got a chance to learn, right?
Absolutely.
It wasn't just the worst thing I ever heard was learning by doing. Let me ask you, do you drive a car?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
How did you learn? You got lessons.
I learned first by crashing.
Ah, see, good.
Crashed my car when my father tried to teach me driving, like straight to the tree, and the people were like, "Oh, something's happening," so they ran. So
But
yeah,
but
I learned like that.
but fail early, fail small, recover fast. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, advice on that for anybody listening: don't learn with a father or a brother, if at all possible, because you know each other too well, and you'll
Yeah.
be screaming at each other.
Yeah.
Right?
Boasting.
Happen. Go with a friend. Get some lessons with a friend or an auntie or an uncle, if
Yeah.
possible first,
Yeah.
because you're too close to your family, and they're like,
Yeah.
you're doing it wrong. No, just
Yeah.
you need somebody more calm, more relax, and it's with anything in life, right?
Yeah.
If you've got somebody who's going to listen to you and your questions, uh,
Mhm.
now don't get me wrong, a family is perfect, but
Yeah.
because they're too close to the problem, they
Yeah.
cannot be objective.
They were very scared. So I'll share a small story about a very funny story regarding that. So my dad was teaching my mom to drive, and I was sitting at the back seat, like holding the seaters like this, and I was waiting. My mom hit this brake, and I just straight went to the dashboard and lost the teeth in front.
My my dad taught my mother to drive twice, and she ended them in hospital 2 times.
So, so when she came back, like she asked me to get out of the car, and she was like, "Go home, get some." It was bleeding, and one tooth was over. So my father, every time she used to drive back, she used to show my face that look what you have done to her. Like this is what happens. You're absolutely right about that. So
But
yeah,
it's you see, they're too close to the problem, right?
yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and the passionate and the love takes over.
Yeah,
So and it gets expressed, not
right.
always in the nicest words, but so that always, and it's you know with the technology as well, it's the same thing. That
Right.
you can you should get to a certain level first, and then maybe go under the wing of a, let's say it's a family member, and maybe they can bring you up further.
Yeah.
But to start you off going, if somebody's saying, "Oh, you're stupid. Oh, what's you can't do that. You're crazy." They don't have the patience maybe to start you off. But let me give you a perfect example. I have a very good family friends. They're musicians, and all of their father, their grandfather, great father, always been in music. Um,
Mhm.
and the father, who I know well, and his 2 sons, who I know really, really well, and daughter, he didn't really spend any time with them, with their music. And
Okay.
uh, one of the boys went, he said, "Oh, can I play with you tonight, Dad?" He went, "Can you play?" And he was like, "Wow." He blew his father off the stage.
Oh my
Uh,
God.
and his father was like, "If I knew you were that good, I would have had you playing with me long time ago." Because we don't trust that they have the ability.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
give them the chance
Right. Right.
to
Right.
screw up, if you like, in a small environment, a safe environment. And then if you
Absolutely.
see the seed of hunger and wanting to learn, well, then go, "Oh, okay, I can see something there. Let's 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 bring that sort of seed up and grow that mushroom or whatever," right? And they promise you, when you do that way, the reward will come back in hundreds.
Absolutely, absolutely, like spot on answer on that. So, Paul, in your role as a SAP Program Director, can you discuss a specific project? Not to mention the project name or the intricacies of it, but where you successfully managed multiple system integration partners and vendors, ensuring alignment and maintaining the quality of the delivery. So, if you can tell me about that.
Oh, this is why I have no hair left. they, uh, vendors all have an agenda,
Okay.
um, and very often they'll overpromise and underdeliver.
Mhm.
And this is where you come back to the people thing. I can remember one particular one. We had to put a new weighbridge on the site for weighing the trucks to come in, and we didn't know about it at the beginning of the project. It just, there was no way we could get the old weighbridge working with SAP, and we
Okay.
tried RFCs, everything else didn't work. Uh, it was just too old. Uh, so I remember getting the vendor in the room, and we all spoke to him, and I said, "Look, if things are not going well, communicate with me. Tell me what's happening. Uh, don't run away and hide, because I will chase you. Uh, they Tell me what's happening. Be honest. Be open. If things are going wrong, tell me. We'll if it means it's going to be, hopefully there won't be a delay because we're stuck on our go live date, but we'll come up with a workaround." Uh, and typically the sales guy, as soon as he started to be, uh, getting very evasive with me, after we signed the contract. Uh, but, I drove to his office and wasn't expecting me. I said, no, I told you, there's the rules, right? This is what has to happen, right? Yeah, you're now going to put yourself at risk of not getting paid or putting the payment much further down the line or getting litigation against you. So step up, right? I'm not going to beat you into submission. You've got a fair price to do the job. Do the job. I had other ones where you could name every consultancy that you could think of. They were all on the same project. It was like the night of the long knives. Everybody was sticking the knives in each other's back, right? And they were using the client's lack of knowledge, taking advantage of that. So I had a reset. I went, don't care where you're from. I don't want to hear XYZ company, ABC company, whatever. I don't care what company you're from. There will be no fighting, blaming, moaning, complaining about anybody else. We're all on the same team.
Right.
And the message had to go a couple of times. And I had to stand beside people and go, no, it's not acceptable that you speak to somebody that way.
Absolutely.
Right? They're your colleague, they're your peer, and I don't care which company they work for. You will talk to somebody, with respect. You can disagree with them, but in a respectful way.
Absolutely. Very, very, very true. 100%. So, Paul, in your experience, what are the most common misconceptions you have or challenges that an organization faced when embarking on SAP-driven business transition projects, and how can this be mitigated or addressed proactively? Like, if you can give an example based on this.
First of all, there's always the cynicism of this. There is a fear of the change that this new system is going to bring because they're afraid of their job, right? There's also then the thing that this ERP system has been sold by senior management. It's going to solve all the problems. Now, tell me, does a warehouse management system does not make you money? A procurement, sales, production planning doesn't make you money. Your inventory doesn't make you money. Your finance system doesn't make you money, but combined, it's a very powerful tool set, right? But they still don't make you money. They control your business.
Okay.
So you've got other tools that will help you to market and sell your product. For example, one customer, they spent 40 million putting in a new automated production line, but they didn't use they didn't put their orders through SAP. They didn't put from SAP, they didn't put them through the MES, the manufacturing execution system. They put them straight to the automated production line. I'm going, well, why do you do that? And it was a 20-minute call. And I explained to them what SAP does, what MES does. So you need to be able to track it from point of order, point manufacturer, semi-finished goods, finished goods, and the MES doesn't make it as well. The production line is making it. The people on the production line make it. So, follow the flow, get the process in place. So an ERP system, doesn't matter SAP or not, is not a magic bullet to solve all the organization's problems. You have to change your own perceptions and your own ways of working to be successful.
You have to be accepting of the change that is coming to your way. Absolutely. And this challenges are faced in a lot of organizations where people are mostly scared nowadays around AI, and they're thinking that they might lose their own jobs because of AI. But AI is an artificial intelligence, but human intelligence will always be there. It's in a, like, it can't be taken away. So the
You
people are scared sometimes.
just think about when they invented the wheel, right? That's going to change everything. It's going to lose jobs.
Yeah,
The all the horses and donkeys are going to lose their job because this wheel is on a cart. It
right.
it didn't it enhanced things, right?
Yeah,
If you
yeah,
think about all of the slaves who built the pyramids in Egypt, they bought an awful lot of this stuff on their back up, you know,
yeah,
very hard.
yeah,
Having the wheel
yeah.
made it
Absolutely.
easier. When it comes to first industrial revolution, second industrial revolution. So
Yeah,
is AI the fourth? I can't remember the numbers of the fourth or fifth industrial revolution. Right? It's AI is not the California gold rush that everybody thinks it is. It will be fantastic, right?
yeah, yeah.
It's not there yet. It's still, for me, it's still large language models.
Right.
There's still a lot of mistakes. Uh, we'll learn a lot as we go along, and
Yes.
don't worry, it will not be. Yes, there's ethical use of it, but it will not be Arnold Schwarzenegger and Terminator, whatever, right? But we have to control it as well.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's very true. It's not going to turn into a transformer or a Terminator or anything. That's so
And
true.
and
All
remember,
right.
in each of these industrial revolutions, whether it's farming or flying or whatever, everyone was afraid I'll lose my job. We
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
we have to learn like you're going to live forever,
Right. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But also, there's an added piece in that: love like you're going to die tomorrow,
Absolutely. Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
if we forget our family and our friends, uh,
Mm.
we'll finish a project and nobody will be there. So you gotta, and your colleagues as well, right?
Yeah.
It's learn like your learning curve will be like that all the time, right? But and ask yourself every day, what did I
Yeah.
learn today,
Yes. Yes.
right? And, and
I.
it could be something crazy about, wow, I see the way that they make the coffee in the canteen or something like that. Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You're never so good that you're not going to learn something today. And
Yes.
treating everybody with respect is the most important.
Yes.
I've had people come into the canteen and they're like, flicking at the girls behind the serving, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and they were
Not
unfortunately
good. Not good. That.
some of these guys were on my team,
Uh,
and well, as you can probably see, I'm not shy, so
no, you're not.
I let everybody know, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and we made corrective actions. So it's it doesn't matter how smart you are.
You
The
pick them
most
up.
important person on a client side is the cleaner and the security person.
Yeah.
They know what's happening in the business.
Oh, yeah.
If you want intel,
Yeah.
uh, what's happening in a company, speak to the cleaner.
Yeah.
I, I,
Yeah.
I have a funny story when I was working on a client site and I was
Mm.
there late in the evening and there was three Spanish cleaners. They came into the room and go, "Who are you?" They spoke no English
Mm.
and I spoke no Spanish and they thought I was robbing the place. These three women, they stood there with their brooms. They wouldn't let me out of the room. And one of them went to get my boss. Well, for me, that was perfect because they showed that they had ownership.
Yeah.
They were
Yeah.
proud to work for the company. They weren't going to go, "Oh, he's a big guy, and he'll beat us all." No,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I thought, and I got on so well with those ladies after that. It
Oh
was
God.
brilliant.
Yeah.
They,
Probably
so
the sweetest.
they, they, because the organization will be as good or as bad as the worst behavior leadership allows.
Yes. Yes.
So
Absolutely.
if we treat the cleaners like second or third class citizens, we'll we won't get the information that we may need from them.
Right. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Like what you said just now, a little back, that every day you need to learn something new. So that's kind of a, that's kind of a obsess I have over my thing as well. So I'm obsessed over certain things. Like every day I write it. I follow a diary, that things I'm grateful for and things I've learned today. So when I see that the learning side is somewhere, it's like the numbers are a little less. Maybe anything. It can be anything, like how to drape a scarf or anything. If I see that number is less, next day I overcompensate. So I'm obsessive about that. So I can relate with this. And also, um, when I meet somebody new, when I be it a book guy, be it a colleague or anything, I take a test. I take them to the restaurant, and I see how they treat waiters.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So they're like, hey, come, like get the menu, or is like they're politely asking them to come. So that like gives me a lot of about their personality. So yeah, those are the things I do. So you're correctly that kind of person who picks it up.
There's a famous story with Henry Ford, and he was trying to pick an executive to be his second in command,
Uh-huh.
and he was down to the last two, and he invited them both for dinner. And they went through the dinner normal process, and they got out on the street afterwards. He said, "Guys, I've made my decision." He said to personally, he said, "I'm not choosing you." And of course, go, "Oh, well, why? Why?" He said, and he said to the other guy, "I am choosing you." And he said, "I'll explain to you why." He said, "Because you were doing this to the waiter and treating the waiter like something you just stood in." He said, also, he said, you took the salt and you put it straight on your meat without tasting it. Right? So first taste the food, then
Then
add the condiments. He
right.
said, and the
Oh,
reason I'm choosing the second guy, he said, maybe you're not as fully qualified as this other guy, but your behavior was, and you will be my ambassador in my organization.
wow, wow.
So
That's wonderful. I didn't know this. I didn't know. Thank you for sharing it. It is wonderful. That, yeah, wonderful. So, Paul, let's get back to the questions, because if we talking, we'll share experiences all this while. So,
indeed.
in your experience, like you hold several credentials as in SAP Global Business Transformation Management, MSP, Prince 2, BTM. Which of this you find the most valuable in ensuring the success of SAP programs? And how do you contribute this effective project management and delivery? Like how does this programs helps in it?
I would say they help me with my own self growth. Now, if you look at it backwards, you go into a customer site, they don't know what Prince 2 is, BTM,
Yeah.
PMI, Activate, ASAP. They don't know a BAPI from a hole in the head, right?
Right.
Uh, so they don't understand the qualifications. So qualifications are there and certifications there to help us to grow.
Mhm.
But in reality, it's all they're only just they're extra steps along our way. If you like, if you know the Maslow hierarchy of needs, uh,
Yes. Yes.
but not in that. If I'm just trying to map it to something else and go, your experience plus your training, your certification, then
Yes.
helps you to be the best and the most qualified in your area, right?
Yes.
Uh, so if you they're just additional feathers in your cap, right?
Right. Right.
Uh,
Right.
there is a reason that people say people process technology, uh,
People.
because you're and in that order,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
without people you're going to deliver nothing, without processes you deliver nothing, without technology you don't deliver anything, right? It has to be. Now, it's all very simply sounding that, but the culture in the organization can be very different and very aggressive against these things.
Right.
It's just it's just going to take longer. You know, you'll catch more flies with honey,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Than with certifications.
Right. All right. So, looking ahead, what trends do you foresee in the future of SAP and ERP solutions, and how can a professionals in this field prepare for and adapt to these changes to stay ahead of their careers?
There's a really good question. Now,
Mm.
of course, AI is a big thing, um, but I need to jump back a little bit. From Bitcoin to blockchain to IoT to automation to whatever the last great set of tools were. Now
Yeah.
they're only tools, right? Uh, AI will be fantastic. Uh, there is a case for and against cloud uh, computing. So it's really what is the best for the organization. I said, I keep saying our learning curve is like that. It's just,
Yeah.
jumping hoops of fire on a daily basis, trying to keep up with, right? The latest technology. And then suddenly that technology is gone. Uh, I've spent hours learning it, right? But it's trying to solve the business problem.
Right.
Um, the technology will only ever be uh,
Mm-hmm.
tools. Now
Mm-hmm.
we're moving towards composable ERP.
Right.
Will there, and don't allow ourselves to get in stuck in a boat of SAP is the only thing, because we're finding much more organizations have multiple ERPs. Uh,
Right.
so integration, uh,
Mm-hmm.
but you also got to go back the core stuff, clean data,
Yeah.
defined processes. Um,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, there's SAP Build, there's uh, all the new tools that are there. There's ABAP Cloud. There's uh, lots and lots of good tools. Um,
Right.
it's very it's hard to say which one to study and which one to learn.
Yeah.
Uh, I can only say is find your passion
Yeah.
and learn if it gets you out of bed in the morning
Yeah.
because you love it, and
Mhm.
I can give you a problem. You can go, let's do a proof of concept. You know,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
and that's what can help. It's the open mind rather than the technology, because there'll
Yeah.
be new Ruby on the Rails next week, or there'll be we haven't named the technology yet, whatever it
Mhm.
is
Coming.
that we don't know about,
Mhm.
and suddenly everybody be running away like the next California gold rush. It's not, never is. It's
Right.
the business problem. How do we solve the business problem?
Mhm.
And will we in 12 months time, would we solve the same problem the same way we do today? Because we won't, because we have more information, we have more knowledge. So we may be able to go back and create a better solution next year, more
Right.
experience.
Right.
So don't get hung up on the
Absolutely.
technology. Find your niche,
Okay.
find your passion, and follow that.
100%. Very, very true. Very true, Paul. That's absolutely the most important lesson regarding life and even in the professional journey. Like always be ready to accept change, and change is permanent, and always keep that enthusiasm like you have 25 years of experience, but I can still see that enthusiasm in your eyes when you know something, when you learn something new every day. So this would be my last question, and I'm secretly unhappy that it's our last question, but still you have work and I have to let you go after some time. As we wrap up, any final advice or insights you'd like to share with the audience about driving business transformation through SAP?
You've got to go at the speed of the organization. You
Okay.
cannot force anything down the neck, uh, because you'll get pushback.
Mm.
Um, of course, the push from SAP is adopt, don't adapt. Uh, I would say keep your integrity. The only thing we have in this world is your integrity, right?
Right.
If that means that you have to step up and say, I don't agree with that, then, of course, there's, somebody might fire you for it, but try not to get fired. But, it's ways of communicating that through to people that will help them to solve a business problem.
Right.
So they say change is the only constant. And we have to accept this change. Let me ask you this as a question. Did you imagine when you started off your career that you'd be doing what you'd be doing today?
No,
So,
absolutely not. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I studied tourism. I'm a tourism person, but I'm working in a edtech company and I'm working as a podcaster over there. So no relationship with the studies I've done. So yeah. So
and in 10 years or 20 years time, do you know what's going to be?
but I know it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, but you have a hope
Yeah.
and you've got
Yeah.
a desire, what you would
Yeah.
like to have in that 10, but
Yeah.
what actually happens on the ground, it could be better. Hopefully it won't be worse, but it could be better.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
can be. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So don't be afraid of your journey, where you've come from, where you are now, and where you're going to be in the future. It'll be different.
Yeah. Probably I would see you in Ireland in some few years. Probably that.
It will be my pleasure. My pleasure.
And I would crash. I will show you how to crash a car by myself. So
Listen, they talk about crashing cars. We could be here for another hour. I'll tell you, I've probably crashed more cars than you've ever driven.
of course, I don't want to argue on that, but of course, like that would be a nice way to see each other, how many cars we crashed side by side over there.
No,
So
I can see my father now. He's going, oh my God, don't let Paul near the car.
So Paul, I don't know how this 1 hour went. I was like, I was really enjoying this conversation, and I've learned so much from you. And thank you so much for being our whole best guest ever. And I would love to have you again to our show. And thank you so much for your wonderful time. And it was lovely having you here. Thank you so much.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Okay, Paul. Bye bye. Take care.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye bye.